Welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm Leo, your favorite host. Well, I hope I'm your favorite. And joining me, as always, is Gwen.
Hi, everyone. I'm not here for jokes, unlike Leo.
Oh, come on, Gwen. We need balance here, you know? I handle the jokes, you bring the facts.
Fair enough.
Speaking of which, do you remember that community post where we asked everyone for podcast topic ideas?
Of course. Any interesting suggestions?
Oh, yeah, lots. But one topic kept popping up more than others.
Let me guess. How to laugh at Leo's jokes.
Ah, close, but no. It's how to become the best version of yourself.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but honestly, the best version of myself? That's a lot of pressure.
Well, today we're going to help everyone figure out how to take those first steps, even if it's not perfect.
I like that. So sit back, relax, and let's get into how to become the best version of yourself without all the pressure. Oh, and don't forget, we've prepared a free PDF with tips and resources to help you on your journey.
Make sure to click the link in the description and, most importantly, make a copy so you can edit it yourself.
All right, Gwen, today we're talking about a big topic, how to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah, and that's something people often talk about, but it's not as easy as it sounds, right?
No, it's not. A lot of people think it's just about setting goals, but there's a lot more to it,
True. And I think the first step is self-reflection, taking time to really understand yourself.
right? It's important to ask yourself questions like, am I living in a way that makes me happy?
Exactly. Or, what's stopping me from growing?
Research from Harvard University shows that people who regularly reflect on their actions tend to make better decisions. That's because they're more aware of what they need to improve.
Reflection, sure, but isn't action just as important? People can get stuck in reflection and not actually move forward.
That's fair. But without understanding what's holding you back, how do you even know what actions to take?
True. But I think people often use reflection as an excuse to delay. You've got to strike a balance.
Fair point. That's where setting goals comes in, right?
Yes, but goals need to be realistic. Too many people set goals that are way too big.
I don't know, Gwen. Big goals can be motivating if you have the right mindset.
I get that. But what happens when they don't reach that big goal right away? That's when people give up.
Yeah, right. That's why I always say, break it down into smaller steps.
Agreed. Research shows that small wins help build momentum. And from there, setting personal goals becomes easier because you know what you want to change.
Yeah, but let's talk about how to set those goals,
A lot of people make goals that are too big or unrealistic.
right? Like saying, I want to be a millionaire by next year.
That's not going to happen unless you win the lottery.
Exactly. Instead, it's better to break big goals into smaller steps.
For example, if your goal is to be healthier, start with something simple, like drinking more water each day.
Right. Research shows that small habits, like walking 10 minutes a day, can lead to long-term change.
That's why building healthy habits is key.
Exactly. But I know some people struggle with self-doubt.
Yeah, that can hold people back. They don't think they're good enough to make changes. Fear plays a big role in that.
I agree. The University of California did a study showing that fear of failure often stops people from reaching their goals. So, how do you push past that?
Well, one thing is to accept that mistakes are part of the process. No one becomes their best self without failing a few times.
So, start small. Don't focus on being perfect. Focus on making progress.
I agree, progress matters more than perfection.
It's like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you get. All right, Gwen, I think it's time to go over some key vocabulary from today's discussion.
Good idea. Let's help our listeners really understand these words.
First up, we have the word reflection. Reflection means thinking deeply about something, especially about your actions and how you can improve. For example, you can reflect on your day before going to bed.
Right, Leo. What's next?
Next, we have goals. A goal is something you want to achieve, like learning English or getting fit.
For example, my goal is to run a race next month.
Great example, Gwen. The next word is habits. A habit is something you do regularly, like brushing your teeth or going for a walk.
Yeah, building healthy habits can make a big difference in your life.
Exactly. Next up is fear. Fear is the feeling of being scared or worried about something, like failing or trying something new. Last but not least, we have progress. Progress means moving forward or improving in something, even if it's little by little.
Like when you practice English every day, you're making progress even if you don't notice it right away.
So, Gwen, we've talked about goals and reflection. But let's dive into something equally important: continuous learning,
Absolutely. The journey of becoming your best self doesn't end with setting goals. It's a lifelong process.
right? There's actually research from Stanford University that shows people who adopt a growth mindset are more likely to succeed. A growth mindset means believing you can improve through effort rather than thinking your abilities are fixed.
That's really important. It's easy to get stuck thinking, I'm just not good at this, and then never try again.
Exactly. But if you believe you can get better, you'll keep pushing yourself even when things get tough.
That's true for anything in life, not just work or school.
Totally. And there's research from the American Psychological Association showing that people who keep learning new things, even later in life, tend to be happier. It makes sense, right? Learning keeps your brain active and gives you a sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely. It also opens doors to new opportunities, whether it's a new job or just a new hobby.
And here's an interesting study. Research from the University of Texas found that people who continue learning into older age reduce their chances of cognitive decline.
That's pretty powerful. So, learning doesn't just improve your skills, it helps keep your mind sharp too.
Exactly. So, what's your approach to continuous learning, Gwen?
I try to learn something new every day, even if it's small, like reading an article, trying a new recipe, or watching a documentary.
That's great. I think it's all about being curious and open to new ideas.
Exactly. And when you're open to learning, it's easier to adapt to changes in life.
So, what about our listeners? How do you stay curious and keep learning?
And what's something new you've learned recently?
Share with us in the comments.
Another thing that can really help personal growth is surrounding yourself with positive people,
Oh, definitely. The people around you have a huge influence on your mindset and motivation.
right? If you surround yourself with people who encourage you, you're more likely to keep going.
But if you're surrounded by negativity, it's really hard to stay motivated.
That's why it's so important to choose your influences carefully.
There's a famous quote that says, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
And that's true, whether it's in your personal life or your career. So think about who you're spending your time with. Are they helping you grow?
Or are they holding you back? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. All right, Gwen, I think it's time to go over some key vocabulary from today's discussion.
Sure, Leo. Let's make sure our listeners understand these words clearly,
First up, we have mindset. A mindset is how you think about things, like how you think about learning or growing.
right? If you have a positive mindset, you believe you can improve with time and effort.
Exactly. Now, the next word is learn. To learn means to get new knowledge or skills.
For example, you can learn new things by reading, watching videos, or practicing.
That's right. The next word is help. Help means to make something easier for someone.
Like when your friend helps you understand something new.
Exactly. And now we have grow. To grow means to become better or bigger over time,
You grow by learning new things and practicing them regularly.
right? And finally, we have change. Change means to make something different.
For example, you can change your daily habits to improve your life.
Exactly. Now, let's ask our listeners a few questions.
Sure, first question. What's one new thing you've learned recently?
Hmm, let me think about that. I recently learned how to make pizza at home. It's really fun, and now I don't have to order pizza all the time.
That's awesome. Now, for the second question. What's one change you can make to improve your daily routine?
Hmm, I think I could spend less time on my phone and more time reading.
That's a great idea. We'd love to hear from our listeners too.
What's something new you've learned, and how will you make a positive change? Share your answers in the comments below. Well, Gwen, I think we've had a great talk today,
Yes, Leo. We talked about many important things, like learning and making small changes.
right? And I hope our listeners feel ready to become their best selves.
Me too. Remember, little changes can lead to big results over time.
Exactly. Before we go, don't forget to check out the free PDF in the description below.
Yes, you can make a copy of it and write your own goals and ideas.
It's a helpful tool to keep you moving forward.
And let us know how you're using it in the comments below.
That's right. We'll see you next time on Podcast and Chill.
Thanks for joining us today.
Take care and see you next time. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Podcast and Chill. Our beloved listeners, I'm your host, Leo, the guy who can teach you something while making you laugh.
And I'm Gwen, your informative host, here to help you get useful information.
You've heard of the word positive, right? But do you know what its power is and how do we use it correctly?
Positive thinking isn't just about feeling happy all the time. It's about learning to focus on the good things in your life, even during difficult situations.
That's right. And in this episode, we'll explain what positive thinking really is, how it can improve your health, and how you can develop this mindset in practical ways.
Remember, this podcast is made for English learners like you. So relax and enjoy learning about this life-changing topic.
Are you ready to come with us? Let's get started. Gwen, let's start with the basics. What exactly is positive thinking?
Positive thinking means looking at the good side of life while being realistic. It's not about thinking everything is perfect, but about finding solutions instead of focusing on problems.
That makes sense. I'll make an example. For example, imagine you're late for an important meeting because of traffic. Instead of saying, "My whole day is ruined," you could think, "I'll do my best to catch up when I arrive."
You got it right. Research supports this idea too. According to the Mayo Clinic, positive thinking can help people manage stress better, improve how they handle challenges, and even live longer.
That's incredible. Positive thinking isn't just about feeling better emotionally. It also has real benefits for your life.
Right? And if you're wondering how to practice this, here's a simple activity. Let's take a negative thought like, "I always make mistakes," and change it to something more positive. You could say, "Everyone makes mistakes, and I'm learning from mine." This small change can make a big difference. Speaking of benefits, Leo, how does positive thinking impact our health? Positive thinking is great for your body and mind.
When you think positively, your body makes less stress hormone, like cortisol. This helps you sleep better, strengthens your immune system, and even protects your heart.
So thinking positively can actually help us stay healthier.
A study by the American Psychological Association showed that positive people are 13% less likely to get heart disease. They also have lower blood pressure and healthier hearts.
That's a good reason to start practicing positivity today.
Yeah, the more you practice, the easier it becomes to stay positive, even in difficult situations.
Now, Leo, let's talk about how someone can develop a positive mindset. What do you think is a good first step?
We can prepare a gratitude journal. So, listeners, have you thought about how to use it to improve your positive thinking? Let me share. It's important to practice gratitude. By taking time each day to think about what you're grateful for, you can start to focus on the good things around you. Every day, you write down 3 things you're thankful for. It helps you focus on the good parts of your life, no matter how small. For example, If you feel stressed at work, you could take a break and write, I'm grateful for my health, for having a job, and for the opportunity to learn new things. This moves your focus away from what's wrong and helps your body relax.
Another simple tip is to practice positive self-talk. If you're feeling tired or stressed, instead of thinking, I can't handle this, try thinking, I'm doing my best and I can handle this moment. Your body hears your thoughts, and those positive words can lower stress and help you feel better physically.
I couldn't agree more.
Now let's learn some vocabulary below so you can understand the topic better before continuing to listen. Catch up. Definition: to make up for lost time or effort. Example: I missed the first part of the lecture, but I'll catch up by reading the notes later. Focus on someone, something. Definition: pay attention to someone or something. Example: even though the trip was short, I'm focusing on the good parts, like spending time with my family. Take a break. Definition: to pause from work or stress to relax. Example: I always take a break after studying for an hour. Be grateful for. Definition: to feel thankful for something or someone. Example: I'm grateful for my friends who always support me during tough times. Move something away. Definition: to take something or attention to a different place. Example: having a gratitude journal moves your focus away from what's wrong and helps your body relax.
Next, practice with some questions below to see how well you understand the topic. Don't forget to type your answer in the comment section to discuss with others. What example of thinking positively when being late for a meeting? Instead of thinking, my whole day is over, you could think, I'll do my best to catch up when I arrive. What health benefits are linked to positive thinking? Better sleep, lower blood pressure, and improved heart health. Now we will learn more ways to have a positive thinking. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, right? Gwen, how can we stop negative self-talk and start thinking more positively?
That's a great question, Leo. Firstly, you need to recognize when you're being negative. If you catch yourself thinking, I'll never be good at this, stop and ask yourself, is this really true?
That's a good point. When we change negative thoughts to positive ones, we start to see ourselves differently.
That's right. When we are kind to ourselves, our brain creates less stress and more happy feelings.
Oh, have you heard of toxic positivity? Some people say that if we are always positive, we will fall into a trap of our own making. What do you think, Gwen?
Actually, this opinion is completely true. But it is only true when we cannot control that positivity. Some people, even in extremely bad situations and need to solve problems, they still avoid and think that everything will be fine. That is toxic positivity. But here, we are positive to have the spirit to face the challenges ahead. This is healthy positivity.
It's eye-opening. I hope everyone remembers this and balances their positivity. What's next?
Let's talk about how positive thinking can help with setting goals.
Oh, right. I'll share how it can help us reach our dreams. One helpful tool for positive thinking is visualization. This means closing your eyes and imagining yourself reaching your goals. For example, if you're learning English, you can picture yourself speaking confidently in front of people.
Wow, that sounds like something athletes do before a big game.
Exactly. And a research from Psychology Today supports this. It found that imagining yourself doing something not only makes you more motivated, but also makes your brain act like you're really doing it. So, when you imagine success, your brain starts to believe it can happen.
I see. It's becoming more and more popular these days, especially among young people. We call it manifest, right?
Yes. People today often forget how important it is to have a positive environment. Being around happy and encouraging people can really help you stay positive.
That's so true. When others believe in you and cheer you on, it's easier to feel good about yourself.
And it goes both ways. You can share positivity too. Say something kind, cheer up a friend, or just smile. It can make someone's day better. Trust me, no one hates hearing positive things.
I agree. Being around supportive people helps both your mind and body feel better.
Last but not least, Gwen, how can we stay positive when things go wrong?
The key is to see bad things as chances to learn. Like we have shared, instead of thinking, I failed, try thinking, what can I learn from this? This helps you look at problems in a different way. It sounds easy, but it has to be practiced. That's what makes it effective. And that's why we repeat this method so often in this podcast.
That's such a helpful way to think. It reminds me of something Thomas Edison once said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. He didn't give up. He learned from each mistake.
Exactly. Life is full of challenges, but every challenge teaches us something. When you face a problem, take a moment to look back.
And remember, be patient with yourself. It takes time to grow and improve. Every small step you take is progress, even if it doesn't feel like it at first. Keep going, and you'll see positive change over time. All right, we will learn the last 5 words for today. Make sure to practice speaking all of them. Be kind to someone. Definition: to treat someone nicely, with care and respect. Example: she was kind to her friend by helping him with his homework. Remind someone of something. Definition: to help someone remember something they may have forgotten. Face a problem. Definition: deal with a problem, not avoid it. Example: when you face a problem, try to find a solution instead of running away from it. Take time to. Definition: spend time doing something slowly and carefully. Make someone's day. Definition: to make someone feel happy or special. Example: her compliment made my day.
Lastly, let's answer the questions below. Just share your thoughts with us in the comment section. What should you do when you catch yourself thinking negatively? You can stop that thinking right away and ask yourself if the thought is really true. How can visualization help with achieving goals? Visualization helps by imagining yourself reaching your goals, which helps you to take action easier. So that's it, the power of positive thinking. We talked about how it helps with health, setting goals, and facing challenges.
We hope you feel inspired to start thinking more positively today. It's not about being perfect. It's about making small steps to see the good things in life.
And don't forget, if you liked this episode, share it with a friend who could use some positivity.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay positive, and we'll see you next time. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Podcast and Chill on the Learn English podcast channel. I'm Leo, and here with me is the very serious, very logical Gwen.
Hello, everyone. Leo, I'm curious. How are you going to try to make me laugh today?
Oh, Gwen, it's not about trying. It's about succeeding. Did you hear about the audience response to our last episode?
No, but I'm guessing you're going to tell me.
Absolutely. When we posted how to become the best version of yourself, the audience loved it.
That's great to hear. It shows they care about self-improvement.
Totally. But here's the thing, Gwen. Do you know what really stops people from becoming their best selves?
What is it, Leo? Is this another one of your riddles?
No riddles today. It's laziness.
Laziness?
Yep, it sneaks into everything. Fitness goals, study plans, work projects, you name it.
That's true. Laziness is like a wall that stops progress before it even starts.
Which is why today's episode is called Stop Being Lazy, You're Wasting a Lot of Time.
And don't forget, we have a free PDF to help you work on these tips. Make sure to create a copy so you can edit it for your own goals.
All right, Gwen, let's talk about laziness and why it's so common.
Sure, Leo. Let's start with the root causes. A lot of people feel lazy because they don't have enough motivation.
right? And sometimes it's because they feel overwhelmed by the size of their tasks.
Absolutely. Research from Stanford University shows that when tasks feel too big, people are more likely to avoid them altogether.
So, breaking big goals into smaller steps can really help.
That's true. Let's say you want to learn English. Instead of thinking, I need to be fluent in 6 months, start with, I'll practice speaking for 10 minutes every day.
That's such a good point. Another big reason people feel lazy is fear. They're afraid of failing, so they don't even try.
That's very common. A study from the University of California found that fear of failure often stops people from starting new projects. That's why it's important to remind yourself that mistakes are part of learning.
Exactly. Every mistake you make is a step toward improvement.
Let's talk about routines. Having a daily routine can make a huge difference. For example, waking up at the same time every day helps your body and mind stay consistent.
Right? And building small habits like this can create a ripple effect.
Research from Duke University shows that nearly 40% of our daily actions are driven by habits, not decisions. So, good habits make life easier and reduce laziness.
Absolutely. Let's say you want to exercise more. Start with a 5-minute walk each day. Once that becomes easy, you can increase the time slowly.
Exactly. You're creating momentum, and momentum is powerful. Another big factor that fuels laziness is distractions.
Oh, definitely. Phones, social media, endless notifications. It's a battle.
Right. A study from Harvard found that on average, people spend about 3 hours a day on their phones. That's a lot of time you could use for something productive.
True, but it's also hard to break the habit.
Start small, like putting your phone in another room while working or studying.
That's a good tip, Gwen. Sometimes out of sight, out of mind really works.
And finally, let's talk about mindset.
What do you mean by mindset?
Well, having a just start mentality can help fight laziness. Sometimes waiting for motivation isn't the answer.
That's true. If you just take one small step, the rest often feels easier,
And rewarding yourself for progress can keep you going.
like treating yourself to a snack after finishing a task.
Exactly. Little rewards keep you motivated. So, to wrap up, understand the root causes of laziness, set small, clear goals, and build good habits.
Eliminate distractions and adopt a just start mindset. You've got this, listeners. All right, Gwen, let's break down some key vocabulary we've talked about today. First, motivation. It means the reason or drive to do something. For example, I have the motivation to study.
Second, overwhelmed. It describes a feeling of being unable to deal with too much. For instance, I feel overwhelmed by work.
Third, schedule. This means a regular way of doing things. It's like, I follow a morning schedule every day.
Fourth, distractions. These are things that take your attention away from what you're doing. An example is social media is a big distraction while studying.
Finally, failure. It means not succeeding at something. For example, failure is part of learning.
Now, let's discuss two questions about our topic. First question: what is one small habit you could start today to fight laziness? For me, I would say drinking more water regularly. What about you, Leo?
I think for me, it would be putting my phone in another room when I need to focus.
Second question: how can setting small goals help you feel less overwhelmed?
I think it's because small goals feel more manageable and easier to start.
Exactly. Breaking tasks into steps really makes a difference.
What do you think, listeners? Share your answers in the comments below. Now, Gwen, let's dive into some fun facts and research about laziness.
Sure, Leo. Did you know there's a term called productive procrastination?
Wait, what? How can procrastination be productive?
It's when people delay important tasks but still get other useful things done.
So, like cleaning your room instead of finishing that report?
Exactly. Research from the University of Sheffield found that this can sometimes reduce stress and help people refocus on their main goals.
That's interesting. But we also have to be careful, right?
Definitely. If you procrastinate too much, it can turn into a habit that's hard to break.
Speaking of habits, did you know it takes about 66 days to form a new habit?
Yes, that's from a study by University College London. It shows that consistency is key when building habits. That's why having a schedule or daily structure is so important.
Absolutely. And one more thing, laziness often comes from a lack of purpose in what we do.
That's a great point, Leo. When you find meaning in your work, it becomes easier to stay motivated.
Here's a fun fact for our listeners. Did you know Albert Einstein was often called lazy as a child?
No way. But look how that turned out.
Exactly. It's proof that being lazy doesn't define your potential.
So, listeners, don't be too hard on yourselves. Find your rhythm and take one step at a time.
That reminds me, Gwen, have you heard about the 2-minute rule for beating laziness?
Oh, I think I've heard of it. Isn't it about starting a task that takes just 2 minutes?
Exactly. The idea is to make a task so small and simple that you can't say no to it. For example, if you want to start exercising, just commit to putting on your workout shoes.
That's clever. Once you start, it's easier to keep going.
Right. And it's supported by psychology. When you start small, your brain feels a sense of achievement. That motivates you to do more.
Speaking of motivation, there's a fun story about Thomas Edison.
Oh, I love Edison stories. What's this one about?
When Edison was working on inventing the light bulb, he failed over 1,000 times.
Wow, 1,000 times? That's a lot of mistakes.
Exactly. But Edison said, I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work.
That's so inspiring. It shows that persistence is key to success.
Absolutely. So even if you feel lazy or discouraged, remember, progress is still progress, no matter how small.
One more fun fact for you, Gwen. Did you know the word lazy comes from an old German word leisk, which means weak or feeble?
That's fascinating. But being lazy doesn't mean you're weak.
Exactly. It's just a reminder that we all have moments when we need rest or a push to get going. All right, Gwen, let's look at some new keywords and phrases related to overcoming laziness.
Great idea, Leo. Let's introduce time management. Time management means organizing your time effectively to get things done. For example, using a planner is a great tool for time management.
The next phrase is prioritize tasks. This means deciding which tasks are most important and doing them first. For example, I always prioritize my homework before playing games.
Another great word is focus. Focus means paying full attention to what you're doing. For example, I turn off all notifications to help me focus on my studies.
The fourth phrase is take action. This means starting something instead of just thinking about it. For example, if you want to achieve your goals, you have to take action.
The last phrase is step by step. This means doing things one at a time in a slow and steady way. For example, I'm learning English step by step, practicing a little every day.
All right, Gwen, here's a question for you.
Sure, what is it?
Why do you think prioritizing tasks is important for avoiding laziness?
Because it helps you focus on what really matters and prevents wasting time on less important things.
That's a great point, Gwen. Now your turn to ask me a question.
Sure, Leo. If you're struggling to manage your time, what's the first thing you would do?
I'd start by writing down everything I need to do and ranking them by importance. All right, Gwen, we've had such a productive discussion today about overcoming laziness.
You're right, Leo. I hope our listeners feel inspired to take action and make some positive changes.
Me too. Remember, even small steps can lead to big progress over time.
And don't forget, you can download the free PDF we mentioned earlier.
Yes, just click the link in the description or comments and make a copy so you can edit it yourself.
It's a great way to personalize the tips we talked about today and put them into action.
Before we go, here's a fun fact for you all. Did you know that people who plan their day in advance are 30% more likely to complete their tasks?
Wow! It really shows how planning and taking small steps can make a huge difference.
Exactly. So, start small, plan well, and keep going.
Thank you all for joining us on today's episode of Podcast and Chill.
Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments and tell us what works best for you.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and keep making progress one step at a time. Hey everyone, welcome back to Podcast and Chill on the Learn English Podcast channel.
Thanks for tuning in again. We love having you here with us.
You know, Gwen, one thing I've noticed is how much our audience loves topics about developing their thinking skills.
That's true, Leo. It makes sense. They're probably looking for ways to improve their English learning process.
Absolutely. Speaking of improving, Gwen, have you ever heard about growth mindset and fixed mindset?
Of course, Leo. A growth mindset is all about believing that your abilities can grow with effort and learning, while a fixed mindset assumes your abilities are set in stone.
Oh, so like, if I believe I can be the next big comedian by practicing every day, that's a growth mindset?
Well, let's not get carried away, Leo. But yes, it's about believing in improvement.
Great. Because today's topic is all about how adopting a growth mindset can help you in your language learning journey and beyond.
That's right. Stick around and we'll break it all down. And don't forget, we've created a free PDF with tips and tricks. Check it out in the description or comments below.
So, Gwen, growth mindset, it sounds fancy, but what is it really?
Well, Leo, it's the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and skills can improve through hard work, learning, and persistence.
So it's like saying, I'm not good at this yet.
Exactly. It's about focusing on progress, not perfection. People with a growth mindset see mistakes as stepping stones, not roadblocks.
That's refreshing. So, if I mess up my English grammar, it's not the end of the world?
Not at all. It's just a chance to learn and get better. In fact, studies by Stanford professor Carol Dweck show that embracing challenges helps you grow stronger mentally.
Oh, I've heard about her work. She talks about how kids who believe they can improve do better in school, right?
Exactly. And it's not just kids. This works for adults, too. It's like the phrase, "You're never too old to learn."
I like that. But how do I actually develop this magical mindset?
Start by seeing challenges as opportunities. For example, if you find English pronunciation difficult, think of it as a fun puzzle to solve.
Oh, like trying to say rural without twisting my tongue?
Exactly. And don't shy away from mistakes. Remember, every mistake is proof that you're trying.
That's comforting. But sometimes, failure feels so personal. Like, what if I'm just not good at something?
That's where you reframe your thinking. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," ask, "What can I do to get better?"
I like that perspective. So, effort plays a big role here?
Absolutely. Think of effort like watering a plant. Without it, nothing grows.
And what about persistence? How does that fit in?
Persistence is key. It's like climbing a mountain. Slow and steady wins the race. You keep going, one step at a time, even when it's hard.
So, no shortcuts then?
Not if you want real growth. Shortcuts might give you quick results, but they don't build the long-term skills or resilience you need.
But isn't it tempting to take the easy way out?
Of course it is. But think about it this way. When you take a shortcut, you miss out on valuable lessons along the way.
So, the journey is just as important as the destination?
Exactly. Imagine learning English just by memorizing words for a test. You might pass the test, but will you be able to have a real conversation?
I get it now. It's like building a house without a strong foundation. It might look good for a while, but it won't last.
That's a great analogy, Leo. Growth mindset is about taking the time to build that strong foundation.
And what about patience? Do you think it's connected to this whole no shortcuts idea?
Definitely. Patience teaches you to value the effort you're putting in. It's like planting a tree. You water it every day, but it takes time to grow and bear fruit.
Oh, I like that image. So every time I make a mistake, it's like watering my tree a little more?
Exactly. Mistakes are part of growth. They show you're trying, and trying is the first step to improving.
And when I finally see the fruit, it'll taste even sweeter because I've worked for it.
That's the mindset. Growth isn't about perfection, it's about progress.
Got it. From now on, no shortcuts for me. I'll water my tree every day, even if it takes time.
And trust me, Leo, it'll be worth it.
Let's take a closer look at 5 useful phrases from today's conversation. 1. Growth mindset. A belief that abilities and skills can improve through effort and learning. Example. A growth mindset helps you see mistakes as lessons instead of failures.
2. Face the music. To confront a difficult situation rather than avoiding it. Example. Instead of avoiding challenges, it's better to face the music and grow from them.
3. A stepping stone. A step or stage that helps you move closer to your goal. Example. Every small success is a stepping stone toward greater achievements.
4. Break the mold. To do something differently and move away from traditional ways. Example. Adopting a growth mindset means breaking the mold of thinking you're just not good enough.
5. Go the extra mile. To make extra effort to achieve something. Example. People with a growth mindset are willing to go the extra mile to improve themselves. Now let's dive into some discussion questions. Question 1. What's one challenge you faced recently, and how did you overcome it?
For me, I tried learning a new skill, but it was frustrating at first. Then I reminded myself that it's all part of the process.
That's a great example, Gwen. It's inspiring to hear how you stayed motivated.
Question 2. How can we apply a growth mindset in learning English?
I think the key is to focus on progress, not perfection. Celebrate small wins, like mastering a new word or phrase.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're stepping stones to improvement.
What about you, listeners? How do you approach challenges in learning? Let us know in the comments. So, Gwen, we've talked about growth mindset and overcoming challenges. What's next?
Let's talk about feedback.
Oh, feedback. You mean like when I tell a joke and you say it's not funny?
Well, not quite. Feedback is a tool to improve, not just criticism.
I guess that depends on how you take it, right?
That's the key. A growth mindset helps us see feedback as an opportunity to grow, not a personal attack.
That makes sense. So, how can we take feedback positively?
Start by asking yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of thinking, they're being mean, think, how can this help me improve?
I like that. It's like turning lemons into lemonade.
That's right. Another thing to keep in mind is surrounding yourself with positivity.
You mean like hanging out with people who lift you up?
Yes, whether it's friends, colleagues, or a community, being around people who encourage a growth mindset can make a huge difference.
Oh, so it's like planting yourself in good soil to grow.
Good comparison, Leo.
Okay, but what about practical steps? How do we actually build a growth mindset?
Start by trying something new every month. It could be learning a skill, trying a recipe, or even taking on a small project at work.
That sounds fun. What else?
Ask more questions instead of making negative statements. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, ask, how can I get better at this?
I like that. It's like flipping the script in your head.
That's the idea. Finally, keep a journal of what you learn each day.
That's great advice, Gwen. I feel like asking questions instead of focusing on what we can't do helps a lot.
Yeah, Leo. It's all about shifting your perspective. For example, instead of saying, I can't understand this grammar, you could ask, what steps can I take to learn it better?
Oh, like turning a wall into a door. That's powerful.
Exactly. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities.
What about when things don't work out, though? Like, you try something new and fail. That can be discouraging.
That's a big part of a growth mindset, Leo. Instead of seeing failure as the end, you can view it as feedback.
So, it's like a roadmap. Failure shows you where to take a better route.
For instance, if you try to speak English and make mistakes, that's not failure. It's a sign of progress.
I guess every mistake is like a stepping stone.
That's a great way to think about it. Let's talk more about creating a supportive environment.
You mean surrounding yourself with people who inspire you?
Exactly. Think about it. If you're around people who encourage you, you're more likely to keep going even when things get tough.
So it's like having a cheering squad for your goals.
Yes, and it's also important to be that kind of person for others.
Like a positivity ripple effect.
That's right. The more positive energy you put out, the more you'll get back.
And what about those practical steps we mentioned earlier? Let's expand on that.
Sure. Here's a simple example. If you're learning a language, set a goal to learn 5 new words a day. It's small, but adds up over time.
That's manageable. What else?
Another idea is to track your progress. Write down what you learn each day. It helps you see how far you've come.
Oh, so it's like giving yourself a high five in writing.
Yes, these small steps can make a big difference over time.
Listeners, what small steps have helped you grow? Let us know in the comments. Let's pick 5 phrases from today's discussion that can inspire us. 1. Build from the ground up. To start something from the very beginning and develop it step by step. Example. She built her language skills from the ground up by practicing daily.
2. Learn through trial and error. To improve by trying different methods and learning from mistakes. Example. He learned to cook through trial and error, testing different recipes until he got it right.
3. Take ownership. To accept responsibility for your actions and focus on making progress. Example. Taking ownership of her studies helped her improve her grades significantly.
4. Keep pushing forward. To continue making progress even when things are difficult. Example. Despite the challenges, he kept pushing forward and achieved his goals.
5. Shift your perspective. To change the way you view a situation to find new opportunities or solutions. Example. She shifted her perspective and saw challenges as opportunities to grow. Let's start with a question, Gwen. How do you personally step out of your comfort zone?
I'd say I challenge myself by trying something unfamiliar, like speaking in front of a crowd. It's nerve-wracking but rewarding.
Wow, that sounds brave. For me, I try smaller things, like learning to bake a new cake. It's less scary but still makes me step out a little.
That's a great start. Taking small steps is still growth. Okay, here's another one for you, Leo. What's one failure you've experienced, and how did you turn it around?
I remember burning my first attempt at making bread, but instead of giving up, I tried again the next day. The second loaf was pretty good.
That's a fun example. It shows persistence really pays off.
And you, Gwen? How do you handle failure?
I try to reflect on what went wrong and learn from it. Like when I didn't do well in a presentation, I practiced more and asked for feedback. It made all the difference.
That's inspiring. What about you, audience? How do you overcome challenges or failure? Let us know in the comments below. That wraps up today's episode about building a growth mindset.
We hope you feel inspired to embrace challenges, learn from feedback, and keep pushing forward.
And remember, even small steps can lead to big changes.
Don't forget to check out the free PDF in the description for tips and exercises to help you practice today's topic.
Also, let us know in the comments. What's one step you'll take to develop your growth mindset starting today?
We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences.
Thank you for joining us on Podcast and Chill, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, keep learning, and keep growing.
Bye for now.